Hello, I am Elizabeth Kaczorowski with the Childcare Center Licensing Group, and I will be covering staffing requirements, including the extensive list of qualifications. This licensing checklist covers a lot of what I will be covering, including the requirements for staff qualifications and health and background clearances. I am not going to read every position's requirements because we would be here all day. But as you can see here, there are alternative combinations that are acceptable. Teachers, for example, can have 12 completed units in early childhood education with 6 months experience in a licensed center, an additional 3 units for an infant teacher, which this class covers, or 6 completed units and enrolled in 2. Directors and supervisors have the most required of them. However, usually the higher their degree, the less amount of years teaching experience that's required. So as you can see, if you only have 12 units, 3 in admin, you need 4 years teaching experience. But if you have a bachelor's degree and 3 in admin, you only need 1 year teaching experience. The state permits are issued by California Department of Education, the same agency that issues teaching credentials for public school teaching. Permits are required if you work for a school that is funded by the Department of Education or a Head Start program. There will be links at the end of this PowerPoint and the references for anyone who would like to know more. What I did find the most interesting, though, about all the permits, from the assistant to the teachers to site supervisor, is that the child development programs, certificates, and degrees from the San Diego City College District meets all the permit requirements. Since this bill passed in 2018, all child care personnel is required to complete the child abuse mandated reporter training. You will learn what the law requires of you as a mandated reporter, how to spot child abuse or neglect, how to talk to children about abuse, how to make a report, what happens after a report is filed, and other special issues. As you can expect, working with children, you are required to be CPR and first aid certified of health and safety training, including infant, child, and adult CPR, first aid, preventative health, nutrition, record keeping, and other policies. One of the strictest licensing requirements I see over and over pertains to the LiveScan background clearances. If a center has any personnel without them, they will receive a hefty fine and citation. Since I've received mine, I'm hoping these easy steps will help you. First, you're going to print and fill out the form that you can find here. Make sure the ORI number that is circled and blinking is filled out, because not all LiveScan locations know them or know how to find them. I found that out the hard way. Second, you can find a list of locations at the cdss.california.gov website and make an appointment. And then third, you get fingerprinted. Once you are cleared, all your info will be accessible electronically. They do not mail you anything. Lastly, if you have ever had a misdemeanor or felony, even in the last 15 years, you must fill out a criminal record exemption form. Finally, the staffing requirements for vaccines include the flu, DTaP, TB, and the measles by anyone employed or volunteering at a center. However, you can self-exempt yourself for the flu vaccine by just handwriting that you have declined the influenza vaccination.
Hi, my name is Yessenia, and I will be talking about ratios inside a childcare facility, as well as outside ratios near bodies of water. On the screen, we have an inspection checklist showing the requirements needed in a childcare facility. The circled section you see is explaining the ratios needed for infants, toddlers, and school-aged children, as well as the training needed to watch a child at the facility and off-site activities. As you can see on the screen, for preschool ratios, there is 3 different options. If you have 1 teacher, there can be 12 children, 1 teacher and 1 aide, you can have 15, and if you have 1 fully qualified teacher and 1 aide, there can be 18. Ratio is determined based on actual attendance. For toddlers, we have 2 different options, and it's 1 teacher for every 6 toddlers, 1 fully qualified teacher, and 1 aide for every 12 toddlers. On the screen, you can see 2 different options for the infant ratios. The first one, we have 1 teacher for every 4 infants, and 1 fully qualified teacher and 2 aides for every 12 infants. For ratios near bodies of water, there should not be less than 1 adult, including teachers, to every 6 children. Lifeguards are not included in this ratio. It is required that an adult who has a valid water safety certificate on file at the center is present at all times during water activities. For ratios during nap time, there are 2 options. There is 1 teacher for every 24 napping children, as long as the staff is immediately available at the center, and if there is an aide who is over 18 and meets all state requirements, they can also supervise 24 napping children in place of a teacher.
Hi, my name is Maryanne Baltazar, and I'm going to be covering the inside requirements of a child care center. The self-assessment checklist covers the cleanliness and safety of kitchen, bathroom, stairs, living spaces, nursery, and around the home. Inside requirements: square feet per child. There should be 35 square feet per child. Space includes floor areas, under tables, desks, chairs, and other equipment intended for children activities. Space not included are bathrooms, halls, offices, isolation areas, food preparation areas, and storage places. All cribs, cots, sleeping bags, beds, mats, or pads must be 3 feet apart. Equipment and fixtures. Containers used for storage shall be clear, in good repair, leak-proof, and rodent-proof. Be sure to cover all electrical outlets. All toilets, hand washing, and bathing facilities shall be maintained in safe and sanitary operating conditions and at child's level. Furniture, equipment, and decor should be clean and well maintained without peeling, paint, or loose parts, secured to the wall or floor so they do not wobble or topple when used as support or climbed on by a child. Safe and non-skid rugs, either attached to the floor with double-sided tape or placed on a top of a non-skid rubber mat to prevent falling. Places and fixtures that must be inaccessible include off-limit areas of your home or center, areas used to store hazardous and dangerous material, stairwells. Items that must be inaccessible include cleaning products, medications, knives, and alcohol.
Hi, I'm Faithy, and I'll be talking about the licensing requirements for outdoor areas in childcare facilities. So first, we have an image that shows what a sample inspection checklist could look like. The outdoor portion is circled, so you can see that the focus is mostly on major hazards in the outdoor area, which we'll go into more detail of later. This checklist helps us focus on all materials, surfaces, and playground equipment to make sure that they are safe and ready for the children to use. So the main requirement for square feet per child is that there will be 75 square feet of outdoor space for each child outside at one time, and the maximum amount of expected children out at one time is 1/3 of the total enrollment in the school or the childcare center. In addition to the 75 square feet of outdoor space, this area must also be enclosed by a fence that is at least 4 feet high and must have protections from external dangers, such as streets and cars, as well as natural dangers like excessive wind and sunlight. Next, we'll be looking at playgrounds and equipment. First, the playground setting and equipment must be age and developmentally appropriate. This means that if infants and toddlers are enrolled in the school, that there will be a separate play area outside for the younger kids. All outdoor areas must have equipment that allow for different forms of movement, such as running, climbing, balancing, and crawling. And this must be arranged in a way that there is no hazard from conflicting areas, such as people shouldn't be running while other kids are climbing next to them. These equipment must also be safe for them to use and free of any sharp points or protruding parts that kids can bump into or scratch themselves on. Any areas near high structures that could be climbed upon must be cushioned in case of a fall. And all natural areas must be checked to be free of toxins, insects, and poisonous plants. Lastly, I'll be talking about bodies of water and the specific requirements around them. Drowning is the leading cause of unintentional death for young kids in the US, and infants can drown in water as low as 1 inch deep. Therefore, all bodies of water are hazards. Bodies of water can include swimming pools, wading pools, hot tubs, creeks, and ponds. Any water play must be under direct adult supervision. All water must be inaccessible to children when not in use. Pools must have fencing at least 5 feet high, with openings no wider than 1.5 inches, and cannot block a view of the pool from the outside. The gate for this fence must be self-closing and self-latching, and must swing away from the water when opened. Any portable or temporary water play tools, such as wading pools or kiddie pools or water sensory buckets, must be filled immediately prior to use and must be emptied after every use.
Hello, my name is Carmen Ortega, and I will be talking about food, health, and safety, as well as immunizations and disaster planning. First, I will discuss the inspection checklist portion that is circled, which covers food safety to assure illness prevention and that children are receiving the best nutrition. Nutrition, health, and safety. Food healthy is an important factor in life to put to practice. One of the most important reasons I believe this is important is because it helps us prevent any type of illness in our bodies. Some of the spaces that allow us to have a safe food service area are the following: a sink, which allows us to get rid of germs or anything; refrigerators, which help us store food and prevent it from getting expired too soon. It's also important to make sure they are clean and are functional. Another factor is storage space for food. Last but not least, hot and cold running water. Hot water allows all the dishes that are dirty to get rid of all the nasty germs that get us sick. Immunization. Being vaccinated is helpful to keep us healthy and prevent us from getting sick. By law, children are not admitted into a licensed child care center until they receive the vaccines by the required age illustrated on this chart. Disaster planning. The main purpose of disaster planning are evacuation, temporary relocation, ensuring the safety of children and staff during a crisis. Every license has to have a plan that's verified by the department that covers situations such as fires, floods, and earthquakes. These plans must cover relocation sites, supervision of children, and means of contacting the authorities. This plan must be practiced at least every 6 months, and all faculty and children must be familiar with what their roles are in every situation.